All right. Wow. Hello, world, and welcome to my first Crafternoon. Crafternoon is something me and two of my coworkers started in the dark ages of 920 dark ages of 2019. We all like to do crafting. And it was a nice chill way to live our days. And then, of course, the next year we had COVID attack, and so now we don't have Crafternoon anymore. And so I decided to bring it back in this format. The problem is that I decided to start my Crafternoon with a stovetop thing. I'm going to attempt to make fudge, and I don't have a good place to put my camera. Everything is terrible in my kitchen. My camera is mounted to my sink. My computer is sitting directly above the dishwasher, which my roommate started right before he left. So that is an issue. None of that matters, though. What matters is I'm going to attempt to make a turtle fudge, and we'll see how this goes. I've never made caramel fudge before, but I looked it up online, and we'll see what happens. I am going to be dumping all of the ingredients together and just basically stirring this for 25 minutes while I do everything else. That seems to be the procedure here. So the ingredients I'm putting in, I've got 2 cups of brown sugar. You might be wondering why I used a smaller saucepan to measure it. It's because I was hoping to use this saucepan because I have this electric stovetop. I really want this heavy bottom, but it was too small. And the next size up that I have in heavy bottoms is a gigantic thing. It's like a 14-inch round. So we're not doing that. I've got a half cup of milk. I have this. It should be about a stick and a half or 3/4 of a cup of butter. I'm going to be a little bit short on this because I had that little nudge of butter that I wanted to get used. So this ended up being, I think, 11 and not 12 tablespoons, but that's whatever. This is how we roll. This is exactly why people who don't know how to cook need to follow recipes. Because, like, I know for a fact that that's not critical, but somebody out there doesn't realize what is and is not critical. Like right now I am using sweetened condensed milk, and that is a full can of sweetened condensed milk. I can absolutely see somebody saying, well, sweetened condensed and evaporated sound about the same. So I'm going to use evaporated instead, and you will not be happy with those results. So we're going to dump this sweetened condensed milk into here. Sweetened condensed milk is basically just sugar. It's just sugar suspended in milk, but it is so sugary that it's not even any sort of proper dairy consistency. It's gooey, and of course dairy, as it thickens, like you know what cream is, and then once you get past cream, it kind of breaks down and turns into stuff like butter, and that is clearly not butter, but actually syrup. So I am going to grab a whisk, which of course I don't have here. Have my whisk, and I'm going to put this on medium heat. Well, you know what's funny about this is that no matter where I am on my stovetop, this camera angle is just wrong. Anyways, I'm going to let that go, and I'm going to go ahead and start a 15-minute timer, which I can actually put on the screen so you guys know a little bit better what's going on. So this is going to go for 15 minutes, and that should be, according to the internet, how long this needs to be on here on heat for that all that sugar to caramelize. I do need to stir this pretty constantly, but I'm going to be working on other stuff while I do that. Also, I am going to clean up any splashes immediately, as long as they're not directly on an eye, because it is straight sugar. So while that's going on, I'm going to toast some pecans. And I've got just this little gross guy. My pots and pans are all very clean, and my roommates all look like this, but I like this little guy for this particular application. Also, for this particular application, I've got these Reynolds cookie baking sheets that are pre-cut to baking sheet size. You see this one I have already ripped off a quarter of. I can get that in the camera. There we go. So I'm actually just going to rip off another quarter of it. We got these. They used to be in like a really nice like pop-up dispenser, and I liked them just because they are pretty easy. You don't have to measure or anything. But now they changed it to that, so I don't know. They work, I guess. All right, and then I've got some chopped pecans. These are just from Aldi. And I'm gonna dump. I know this looks like a train wreck because like these don't even fit on that sheet, but that's, you know what? That's okay. This might not even be enough. Woo. Okay. There we go. So my oven was not preheated. Also, I'm gonna let that sit for a minute, but also, I can't tell you what temperature to set it at. This is one of those things that I made for years, at least a couple times a week at my old job, cake decorating. I had to toast nuts. Usually it was almonds, sometimes it was pecans. And the funny thing with that is, you know, so we're working next to bakers who always have their ovens going, and we would just shove the things in the oven, like just shove them in there. And I never had any idea what temperature that oven was set at. I cannot stress enough that I was a cake decorator and not a baker. I'm not a very good baker. I like baking. I'm not good at it. So I just turn my oven on. And whatever temperature it is, I feel like that's too hot though, because it's at 450. I'm going to go ahead and turn that down to, we'll say 375. Again, a total guess. Who cares? Okay. So next thing up that I'm going to do is I'm going to set up my pan. Again, I'm going to keep this guy stirring the whole time. I'm going to go ahead and set up my pan. For this, I am using parchment paper, and I'm going to be using some scissors on it. So this thing has a nice little measure guide on it. So I want it to be about the width of the pan and no longer. Let's see. how this does. Oh, it toured bad. It toured. Did you guys hear that? Toured. A grammar good. Yeah, that'll be good enough. You'll see why in a second. I know that there's like this gigantic, you can't even see it. There's a gigantic hole right there. That's okay though. I don't need perfect coverage here. What I need is have this poofing up on both sides. So basically I am going to set this up like this and hopefully, yes. So if I put this guy in like this, and then this other one in like this, then I basically have full coverage, and when I go to lift it out, I'll be able to just pop it right there. So I'm going to take this out for a moment, and I'm just going to bang it with some cooking spray so that it sticks down better and I'm not fighting it as I am pouring the fudge into it. Also, I am going to give that fudge a little stir. It hasn't even melted yet, so I feel like that timer that I've got going on the screen is not accurate. That's okay. I don't know what I'm doing here. So I'm going to take my bigger guy and lay it in there. And you see he's sticking pretty well to the sides. Looking pretty good there. I'll fold that flappy down. And then I'm going to spray him one more time. So I can do the same with the other guy. And of course my spray is also almost empty. I went grocery shopping on Tuesday with my roommate. I said, hey, do we need cooking spray? And he said, nah, we've got 2 whole cans of it. No, we had 2 empty cans of it. So here we are. Yeah, there we go. It's pretty well lined. That little flap is going to like probably destroy my entire goddamn world when I actually pour this, but we'll find out. Okay. Gonna give this combination a stir again. And again, in this pot, I've got 2 cups of brown sugar. I've got a can of condensed milk. I've got a ½ cup of regular milk. And I've got about a stick and a half or 12 tablespoons or 3/4 of a cup of butter in there. And I'm gonna go ahead and bang these into the oven. The oven's at 325. I feel good about that. I've got that 7.5 minute timer going right there, so I feel pretty good about that too. So the only thing that really I have left to get going at this point is the chocolate fudge, which I didn't even look up a recipe for because chocolate fudge is the easiest thing in the world to make. Let's see, I've got 8 million notifications on my phone. That's okay. So there are 2 types of chocolate fudge out there. There is old-fashioned chocolate fudge, and there is, I believe it's usually called easy chocolate fudge. Can you read that? Easy chocolate fudge. That is just, sorry, I've got a notification. I can ignore that notification for now. Easy chocolate fudge. Okay, so I don't actually know how to make old-fashioned chocolate fudge. It's a nightmare. I know that. And I'm actually going to go to all recipes. I don't know about you guys, but I hate recipe bloggers. Even though I do put blogs on my recipes on my blog. But, you know, there's the whole story of, like, their grandpappy in Iowa and every single recipe, and it takes, like, 12 minutes to scroll down to the actual recipe. I know why they do that. It's because they're monetizing their site, and I don't hate them for it. But also, I don't like using them for it. So anyways, I am going to all recipes where they don't do that. And in the meantime, I'm going to tell you, I don't know what the difference is between old-fashioned fudge and regular easy fudge. because I've never made old-fashioned fudge, because they say that it's really easy, but it's kind of a nightmare, and you need a candy thermometer. And I'm sorry, I'm looking. Oh, got it. Okay. Oh, also, like this kind of fudge you can literally make in the microwave, but I don't own a microwave. So, old-fashioned, it's temperamental, it's easy to mess up. It takes a candy thermometer, and it's that, when you get fudge, it's got that like slight grittiness to it. That's old-fashioned, and I don't like that. So, I make easy fudge, which I believe the difference is that this is what's utilizing like condensed milk and all of that. I don't know. I'm pretty sure that's the difference. And it's not a candy. It's not made with candy processing. It basically just melts everything together. But yeah, it comes out really nice and smooth, and it's super easy. It is super low stress. I love it for that. And the recipe is like toss a bag of this in with a can of this, and you're all good. So I have another can of sweetened condensed milk. Again, sweetened condensed milk and evaporated milk are not the same thing. And if you try to use them the same way, whichever way you go, you will be absurdly unhappy with what you make. Evaporated milk is basically milk, and sweetened condensed milk is basically sugar. I'm going to run my sink for a second. Oh, Jesus. I'm going to run my sink for a second, but also my camera is mounted on my sink right now. So that makes things awkward. Nothing like having your camera directly above running water to make you fear life. The other thing here, like the caramel fudge that I'm making is like, has this really long process on how to make it. I'm gonna have to like get this boiling for quite a bit, which it's not even at boiling yet. I thought it said 15 minutes from the start, but it was also boiling rapidly throughout most of what I saw in that tutorial. So I've got a ways to go yet. But anyway, so that's got like 15 minutes at boiling, and then it's got another 10 minutes after boiling in order to get like a really good caramelization happening. Meanwhile, this stuff that I'm making here is melt and throw into the pan. The good news is that at least my butter is about melted here. Okay, so that was the sweetened condensed milk. I got to add the rest of the ingredients to this. So I'm going to go ahead and point out that like every single time I make anything ever, I F it up somewhere. I knew that this was a bag of chocolate chips, but actually it's supposed to be a 16-ounce bag, and this is only a 10-ounce bag. I don't even know why there'd be two such closely sized bags out there, but here we are in my usual thing. The good news is that hopefully behind me I got a whole bunch of chocolate. I'm just going to dump that whole bunch of chocolate in here. I'm using dark chocolate. Fudge usually calls for semi-sweet, but since I am adding or mixing it with caramel fudge, I don't want it to be, I want it to be as little sweet as possible. Excuse me for a moment while I dig in this wall. You guys, like, if my kitchen looks even a little bit gross in that picture that you see, that is not even close to how gross my kitchen actually is. We are not clean people, but I did find some chocolate. They say I am good at organizing. I'm curious though. So this bag is 12 ounces. That other bag was 16 ounces. Or the bag they were telling me to use is 16 ounces. And the one that I got from Aldi yesterday is 10 ounces. I don't know what the hell is going on. But anyways, I'm going to throw the smoked chocolate in here. Whatever. I'll call that 6 more ounces. And put this rest of my chocolate away. Okay, so I reset that timer to hopefully, you know what, I'm going to turn. The biggest mistake you can ever do is say, well, this isn't cooking fast enough, so let me turn the heat up. So basically what I just did was I said, well, this isn't cooking fast enough, so I'm going to turn that heat up. Terrible idea, don't do it, but I am who I am. There are my pecans. They were in for about 7.5 minutes on 375. They smell right on the edge of burnt, which I am okay with. Also, is this guy talking to me? No. I thought this guy was talking to me for a second, but he's not. Okay. So he's got that stir going. And what else? Okay. So the only other ingredients for this guy, according to the Wikipedia, or not Wikipedia, I'm sorry, All Recipes article that I pulled up, it is bubbling. The only other ingredients that this needs is vanilla extract and walnuts, which again, we're putting pecans in it. And I don't know if I want to put extract in this. I kind of don't. Like this other stuff that I'm making right here. There we go. I'm bubbling. I don't know if you guys see that from this shittiest of all camera angles, but that's finally bubbling. I'll do that little tipsy. Yeah, that doesn't even work. I can do this. Do you see that little bit of bubble in there? Probably not. Oh, no, because as soon as I took it away, it's not bubbling. That's okay. Oh, that's got a good bubble now. Okay. So I am finally making progress. So basically what's going to happen is I am going to mix this until that timer runs out. And then I am going to move it onto that burner so that I can continue mixing it as it cools. But while I am doing that, I am going to also be heating this up. Because again, this guy is going to have 10 minutes of cool down. That guy just needs to be heated up and incorporated, and then he is good to go. So I feel like all the timing is going to work out. I do have a slight problem right now in that I wanted to crush up those pecans. I can't do that, and that's okay. They're just going to sit there, and they're going to cool off. You know what? It's for the best. Because no, my stupid ass, I'll go and try to crush them, and they'll be too hot, and I'll, like, burn myself or whatever. Or they're, oh, you know what? They'll probably be soft. That's also an issue that happens. By the way, I am shouting across my kitchen right now. I know it's like, I know from watching these sorts of shows that you think that the computer, let me turn that heat down. You think the computer is right here because that's where the camera is. Not even a little bit. My computer is about 6 feet away from me. And again, it is on top of my dishwasher. So that's what you're hearing. If you have just tuned in, I see that there is somebody here. If you have just tuned in, I am making, I'm attempting to make a turtle fudge, which turtle is, oh geez, I'm burning. I am burning. Okay, so I've made a mistake. I'm going to tell you what, my mistake is the fact that I am using an electric stovetop because these are the biggest pieces of shit. You can't get even heat on them. So what's happening right now is it's just getting flashed with super hot heat at the bottom every time it goes through that cycle. So I don't know if you can see this, but I'm getting these like little brown clumps in here, and there's absolutely nothing I can do about that. If I am lucky, they are just more caramelized than the rest of it, and they're not actually burnt. And when I take it off of the heat, when that timer is done, then they'll just like incorporate with everything else. But the important thing for now is I cannot stop mixing. So if you tuned in for just like entertainment sakes, you can watch me mix this and pray. And pray and pray. And also listening to the soothing sound of my dishwasher. Because if you're wondering what that rumbling sound is, it is absolutely the dishwasher that my roommate started right before I did this. And I didn't know. Well, he started it earlier, but he had it on a 2-hour timer. So the moment I started to pull out all of my equipment to film this, that thing just like fired up. Okay. The good news is it does smell really good, and it does smell like caramel. But in all fairness, this is mostly brown sugar. Again, that was 2 cups of brown sugar and a half cup of milk and a can of sweetened condensed milk and a stick and a half of butter. So it smells like caramel, but that might actually be the brown sugar that I'm smelling. If you are trying to make this over electric heat, I mentioned in the very beginning, anytime you're trying to make caramel over electric heat, what you actually need is a heavy bottom pan, which I am absolutely not using right now because I didn't have it. I don't have one that's the right size for this. But that's okay. So, what's that timer at? Oh, God, it's all the way over there. Looks like we're at about 7 minutes, which means I am like literally at the halfway point. And that sucks. My arm's getting tired. Getting real tired. So I don't know if y'all can hear that. There's a lot of noise happening right now between my yammering mouth and my dishwasher. But I said my arms were getting tired. I absolutely did not say, Alexa, stop playing. But she played a song called My Arms Get Tired, I guess. I'm assuming that's something I said in there sounded a bit like her name. But it didn't. Which is funny because, you know, of course, usually when I do try to talk to her, she just ignores me. That's the bitch she is. She didn't hear that either. It's good. Oh, yeah, this is starting to smell real good. I wish that my camera, like I could get a better camera angle so you guys could really see what this looks like. When I do baking stuff, when I'm not on my stovetop and can be on my counter, I have a great counter that I can clamp this to the side of. The thing is, it's the same counter that this is mounted on, but because our house is super fucking ghetto, it's like been cut. Like there's, you know, they just cut it, and they didn't do anything to cap where they cut. So it's a thinner section that I can clamp onto. This has like a roll thing in it that prevents me from clamping onto it. And that was when I said, oh, for my first Crafternoon, I can make caramel fudge, and it'll be great because I can just clamp right next to the stove. I had no idea that I was going to have to put my goddamn camera in the sink. I did, however, always know that I was going to have to put my poor laptop on the dish drying rack, because that is just the life that we have here. I'm going to turn this heat back up a bit. I'm also going to lift this up. So the eye is currently going. Oh, that's a fun purple color on the camera. The eye is currently going, so I'm hoping that I lift this slightly above the eye while it's actually actively going, that I can prevent some of that burning. And that's just kind of a timing thing. There were a whole bunch of things in the tutorial that I saw for this that were directions on how you could tell when it was time for the next step. But honestly, like, I saw what the dude showed me, and it looked exactly like this. You see what that's looking? You see the little brown? Can you see the little brown specks in it? I don't know if you can. But that's the burn that I'm trying to avoid. The good thing is it does not seem to be getting any worse. So I think I'm not burning, and I think it's just like stuff that has already been caramelized rapidly and just needs to get mixed back in. Or I am making the grossest stuff on the planet, in the world. I don't know. I'll find out when I do the taste test for it. You guys, if you're on YouTube, will know in a couple of days if it came out good or not, because I'll either announce that it is on my blog or it will cease to exist. If it ceases to exist, that's because I didn't want anybody to follow in the awful footsteps of me. Looks like, is that 2 minutes? Are we at 2 minutes? Because that would be super cool if we're at 2 minutes. I'm going to walk over. You didn't see that. 2 minutes, 33 seconds. That's awesome. Okay. Did I burn some? Probably. But, you know, I got like a second wind on this. Wait, just splashed some on myself. That is hot as fuck. Tastes good, though. So I'm going to turn this heat just down a scotch because it's thickening a lot, and that is creating some pretty gnarly bubbles. Of course, once it thickens enough, then those bubbles start to pop far more violently and spray everything. Remember when I made that comment at the very beginning of the show that I was going to try to keep the stovetop clean as I did this so I didn't have burnt sugar everywhere? That is totally off. Totally off. Can't do it. That's okay. Also, like, there's that difference between stirring with a whisk and whisking with a whisk, if that makes sense. Like, if you're just stirring, you know, you're just kind of doing that. And if you're whisking, you're kind of doing that more rapid thing to get that air incorporated into it. I'm not trying to get air incorporated into it, but there's that, like, autopilot where you think, well, the faster I stir this, the more successful I'm going to be as a stirrer. That's not true at all. And in fact, in the video, it said to just not let it sit for like more than a minute without stirring. But also in that video, he had the proper stovetop for it. I don't know. I don't know. I just know that in a second I'll actually be probably stirring 2 pots. Because I'm going to get that other guy going too. In a second, I mean, whatever. It looks like we're under a minute. So, yeah, it looks like we're at like 23 seconds over there. So that's cool, y'all. I'm excited for that. Some things get like, you know, round 2. Oh, there it is. There it is. We switch. Switch. Okay. So I think I'm going to go ahead and stick with the spatula for now and see what happens. This is all ready. This is funny. I can't explain the science behind this one, but like these chocolate chips are already melting some. Like they just hit that heat and they are already melting a bit. So I'm actually going to lift it off of that heat for now. Woo! Once that eye goes down, there we go. Okay, I'm going to pop that on there for a second so I can get this next timer going. I feel like if nothing else, you watching this at home can just like have a good laugh over whether I actually pull this off without like not just it coming out bad, because you're not going to know that now, but you'll have to like follow me on my blog or something. Hunt me down elsewhere. Hunt me down. Well, I guess if you're on YouTube, you'll know. But so. Oh God, what was I going to say? Oh, it's kind of fun to just see if I can even do this without having a complete disaster happen. It told me to keep whisking this for another 10 minutes while it cooled down, but geez, it's not even doing anything now. I feel like I didn't need to do that, but that's a good thing because it means I can work at this better. Lift it off the heat as it goes. Also, I can break this stuff up. So I absolutely have all the technology I need to break this up like an adult. I'm not going to. Also, I'm going to switch these out. I just want something with something that's a little bit harder on the bottom. So as I scrape the bottom and get off the chocolate before it burns, it doesn't take so much effort. There we go. Okay, so one more mix of this. So I feel better about that. And one more mix of this. Again, just doing what that told me to do. Well, it's gonna work out though. I don't know. I feel like in that video I saw, this was clearer than this. You see how that's not clear at all. And I mean, it's not like I was making true caramel there, but it looked different in that video. Oh, so yeah, I've got everything I could possibly need to smash these up like an adult, but that's not what I'm going to do because I'm not a very good adult. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to seal that bag up. I'm going to slip that under my camera into my sink. And I'm just going to smash it with my hands. That's it. I'm going to take some air out of that bag. I'm just going to smash it with my hands. Smash, smash. Let's grind them up. At work, what we would do is we'd use the back side of spatula. So I'm going to give this a stir because it is that time. That's smelling real burnt, so hopefully I am smelling the stovetop and not the fudge. No, the fudge smells fine. Probably all that sugar that splashed out of this onto my stovetop. So what we would do at work is we would take an icing spatula and we would just smash it. It's pretty satisfying. My roommate would lose it if he saw me doing this on the stovetop, but that's okay. Got them all nice and smashed, so they're not like, you know, choking hazards or cutting hazards or anything in there, and I'm happy with that. Also, I'm going to leave that spatula out. I think I'm going to be able to use it in a minute. It's a nice little offset. I say little. It's actually a very large offset spatula, but I feel like that's exactly what I'm going to need. Oh, God, did I burn it again? Okay, so I got to stop not paying attention to this. I feel like I need some butter in this, too. Tell you what. I feel like that needed something a little extra in it. I'm going to do it. You might be thinking, well, shouldn't you find a recipe and see if that recipe says to add butter to it? You're absolutely right, I'm not going to. Also, I'm not even going to add a little bit of butter. I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of butter to this. I don't know. I'll do what I want, right? This is absolutely, oh, you know what? This might ruin everything. I'm just going to put it out there, but this might actually make it like too oily to set up or something. We'll find out. Maybe not. Also, my plan for this is absolutely to give it away, and what I hope is going to be a cookie swap. I always have a cookie swap every year in conjunction with our holiday party, but obviously we're having some issues with holiday party this year. So, not going to have a holiday party, but I'd still like to somehow coordinate a cookie swap. The good news is that I work from home and I am self-employed. So, oh God, you guys didn't see that. So I have the ability to organize a cookie swap if I really want to. I just don't know if I'll have participants. Because I think the way to do it is to have them all come by the house twice. Like come by and drop off their cookies and then come by later to pick up everybody else's cookies. Also, this is taking longer than I wanted it to even out. Probably because I threw in those really old, shitty chocolate chips. Not gonna lie, now that we're at this point, I have no idea when those chocolate chips are from. They might have been from like last Christmas. They might have been like 5 years old. You know, that's how this stuff works. Not ashamed. I am starting to get a sore hand though. I know I said that like, I don't know, what, 25 minutes ago now? Oh man. I mean, we're in the final minute and this is not ready. Okay, but this is still flaming hot. So I guess it's okay that I got to run a little bit longer than 10 minutes on that. So, oof. Oh. Also, I don't know if you can hear that sound of like vague sticking. That is absolutely this fudge. Okay. So, my initial plan with this was to do 3 layers and to divide this one up in half, the fudge up in half, and put the caramel in between to get that effect, the turtle effect of having caramel and nuts inside of fudge or inside of chocolate. But this might actually be in my best interest that this is not quite done yet, because I can go ahead and lay that caramel and not be such a fancy bitch here. So I do think I'm going to actually put all of the nuts into the caramel because that's absolutely how a turtle works. Again, it hadn't been my initial plan, but that's what we're gonna do. Give that a bit of a mix. Clean that counter up a bit with my finger so I can try it. It tastes real good. Oh, you know what? It does taste just like caramel. I will give it credit for that. I'm gonna give this one more stir. Smell that burnt chocolate, man. I'm kind of hoping right now, you know, you give yourself false hope on things. I'm kind of hoping that burn smell that I'm getting is just because I use dark chocolate and really fucking old milk chocolate. I don't know. Oh, there they are. Ooh. I thought I was out of counter wipes for a second. It was like, okay, well, just throw everything out. I'm done. I'm done with everything. I'm not out of counter wipes. I just moved them to another location. That's okay this time. That was this guy falling again. I don't want him anymore though. I'm gonna switch to a spatula so I can incorporate. Ooh. Okay. Yes, I have to stop and stir that much because it is so thick and it is being so quick to burn that I just don't. Remember at the beginning when I said that the tricky part was going to be the caramel fudge And the easy part was going to be the regular fudge because it's easy fudge. True to everything in my life, it was the exact opposite of that. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to give this another little stir. And then I'm going to throw this whole bag of nuts in here. And I'm going to give this another stir. And I'm going to give that a stir. Yes, my entire life, for the last, I don't know, how long have I been going for now? Like 40 minutes? It's all been stirring. Also, I now feel like I should have done more nuts than that. So if you're going to try this at home, however many nuts I did, whatever that looked like to you, do like half again of that. Or don't if you don't want it to be that chunky, but I like things chunky. Okay. This is now doing that like steam trap bubbling is what I call it, where it just like that's okay, we mix it. Okay. So we are back to this pan. And I am just going to pour this in and pray that it weighs down the bits that are sticking up right now. It does look like it is doing that. My chocolate fudge is over here making a real weird sound, like it is absolutely going to explode because I took my attention away from it for 2.5 seconds. Oh, that's a burnt smell. Okay, so that got a real good stir to shut it up for a second, and now I'm going to smooth this down. Do you guys see that popping right now? Like, it is just so angry that I had the audacity to put my attention on something else. Don't mind that. Look, guys, this is like a for real cooking show right here. This is what cooking is real like. You got those tasty videos where they got everything in those pretty glass pre-measured bowls. I wanted to do that for you. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I did have that pre-measured bowl in the beginning. Oh no, I didn't, because I had to have it in the heavy bottomed guy. You know what I'm gonna do? This is gonna sound insane after all of this time that I've spent on it. I'm gonna remove that from the heat for a second. That's not the plan. The plan is to rinse off this spatula or this whisk and use this instead. The question is the whisk going to come clean because it's got these dried on caramel. And the thing I will put it out there, with anything chocolate, you don't ever want to get water in chocolate. Water and chocolate are very unmixy things. So back on the heat I go, and let's see if this whisking action helps any. I'm going to clean that out. I'm going to keep it on hand though. Let's see if some whisking will break down these lumps. I bet it will. I bet I just wasted like 10 minutes using a wood handle spoon instead of a whisk. Like, it makes perfect sense. This is exactly the type of shit that whisks are for. But again, I only like vaguely know what I'm doing half the time. If you were to like ask me in a completely different environment if you should use a wood-handled spoon or a whisk for this, I'd be like, well, fuck, use a whisk. Because why would you not use a whisk for it? That's insane. But once it's me in the trenches, I'm like, I don't know what the difference is. And I'm going to say I'm already seeing improvement. I could be lying. I don't know. Also, like, that's caving down some, but yeah. Yeah, this was exactly what I needed to use the entire time, and I could have saved myself so much time. I just used a whisk. And if you're thinking, oh, well, it looks like you only have one whisk, so I get why you did it this way. No, I have more whisks. I'm 40 years old. Of course I have more whisks. We got rid of a couple whisks this year because we decided we had too many whisks. I think we're down to 2 and a little one, which means we have 3. But you know, you gotta say that little. Well, it's a little one, so you know, if we have 17 whisks, we still need that one because it's a little one. Okay, so I'm gonna call this here because I'm tired, y'all. I realize that is the worst reason to stop doing something when cooking. I'm just bored of this, but that's where I am. And I'm making this for myself and my local friends. And my local friends have all had my food before. So they already know that I'm kind of hit and miss on this stuff. So I'm going to clean up as much of that as I can. And I'm actually, just to be like the trash panda that I am, I'm just going to use the spatula that I used for the caramel, because why not? I ask you, if you have an issue with me doing this, please tell me why. They're going to get mixed together anyways. More than I want them to, probably. I'm trying to pour this so I don't end up with a ripple effect, but guess what? I suck at this. Oh, just got it all over the pan, too. I guess that's one good thing with the bad camera angle is you can't see how bad I'm doing right now. You can a bit, but I guess I just flop it like that. So yeah, what I wanted to do here was make it look like like candy shop fudge, where they've got that like that perfect line in it, where it's 2-layered, and all the pieces are perfect. Probably, you know what? I'm an idiot. Probably I'm an idiot. No, definitely. The way to do that, in case you're wondering, is not what I just did. The way to do that would be, in that like time that I had between, to just put this stupid thing in the fridge. That was all I needed to do. And that would have had this all poured on perfectly. And then I wouldn't have these pieces on the side that are all caramel. And then you know for a fact that those pieces like right there are going to be all fudge. But that's it. That is how I made this. I'm not going to say this is how you make this because I don't know. I don't know if this is the right way of making it. I know I made that one mistake with it. For the rest of it, we'll see. And I'll let you guys know on my next broadcast. I definitely will let you guys know on my next Crafternoon how it goes. I just don't know when my next Crafternoon is going to be. It is that season, though. I guess I could like actually be looking at you guys. Where am I? Oh, God, this whole camera. You know, I said that like it was going to be the easiest thing in the world to do, but it's not. Hey, wow, too close. My camera's falling over now. Yeah, so I will let you guys know how this did in my next Crafternoon. And until then, I'm going to stop filming so this doesn't fall over. Thanks for watching, guys.